Welcome back to another Destiny 2 Lightfall guide, everybody. How would you guys feel about a build that gives you constant healing for those endgame activities to keep you alive? And what would you say if this build gave you 100% uptime on volatile rounds that doesn't rely on the artifact mod that's going away after this season? Also in this build, I'm going to be showing you guys how to take the exotic trace rifle, the wavespliter, and increase its damage by 137%. And to top things off, a little cherry on top, we're going to be constantly debuffing enemies, which is going to allow them to take 30% more increased damage. Sounds pretty spicy? Well, that's what we're going to go over in today's video. So Guardians, let's get into it. So Guardians, this is going to be a Void 3.0 Warlock build, going to be on the Voidwalker subclass. We're going to be using the VORTEX Nova Bomb. This Nova Bomb creates a singularity that pulls targets inward and continually damages those trapped inside. You don't have to use this one. You can actually use the Cataclysm Nova Bomb if you want to. Either one will do. For the abilities, we're going to be using the Healing Rift since we want to use this in endgame activities. We want as much healing as possible. Going to be on the Burst Glide because that's the best one for the Warlock. For the melee, we have Pocket Singularity. It's going to make it so you launch an unstable ball of void energy that detonates when it's near targets, pushing them away from the blast and making them volatile. Volatile is one of the best debuffs in the game, and volatile rounds from your void weapons pierce the shields of anti-barrier champions and stuns them, which once again is great for endgame activities. Then we're going to be using the Vortex Grenade, a grenade that creates a vortex that pulls targets inward and continually damages those trapped inside. Very good grenade for ad clear. Then for the first void aspect, we have the Child of the Old Gods. Cast your rift to create a void soul. When you damage a target with your weapon, your void soul flies to them and drains them, doing damage, and it weakens them. When a target is being drained, you're granted grenade and melee energy if you're running the healing rift, or it's going to grant you health if you're running the empowering rift. And when you defeat a target who's being drained by your void soul, you're going to get your class ability energy back. Then for the second void aspect, we're going to be using Feed the Void. Defeat a target with a void ability to activate Devour. While Devour is active, Final Blows restore health and extend Devour. And Devour states that feast on the energy of defeated foes, Final Blows restore you to full health, grant grenade energy, and it extends Devour. So Devour is going to be one of the main ways that we are going to be constantly regenerating health, which is going to come in clutch in those endgame activities, and it's going to keep you alive. So already right there with your abilities and your aspects, we have great synergy going on, and it gets even better when you add in these fragments. I'm going to be using the Echo of Expulsion. Void ability Final Blows cause targets to explode. It's going to give you a +10 to your intellect. They are pretty big explosions, dealing a lot of AoE damage, which is really going to help with ad clear. For the second void fragment, we have Echo of Instability. Defeating void targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapons, gives you a +10 to your strength. And like I said in the beginning, this build is going to be future proof because after season 20, volatile flow is no longer going to be on the artifact. So we have to come up with other ways to get volatile rounds, and this is one of the ways. Then we have Echo of Remnants. Your lingering grenade effects, Vortex Grenade, Void Wall, Void Spike, and Axiom Bolt have increased duration. So this is going to make our Vortex Grenade even better. And then for the last fragment, we have Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants Devour. Gives you a -10 to your recovery. So we now have a couple of ways to activate Devour with the Feed the Void aspect, defeating targets with our Void abilities. And with all the mods we're going to be using, we're going to have a lot of Void abilities at our disposal, paired with Echo of Starvation, granting us Devour with just an Orb. Ever since Lightfall came out, pretty much every build in the game revolves around picking up Orbs of Power. It is super easy to create Orbs of Power with Siphon mods on your helmet. And speaking of mods, let's get into that right now. A Void Siphon helmet mod is going to be absolutely required. This states that rapid Void weapon Final Blows create an Orb of Power. So when you get 2 multi-kills, you're going to drop an Orb of Power. I'm also running an Ashes to Asset mod on my helmet. Gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of uptime on our Void abilities, aka our Vortex Grenade. So we're going to be getting a lot lot of super energy because of this. We're actually running a special ammo finder, increases the drop chance of special ammo on kill. You guys might be wondering why I'm not using a heavy ammo finder. That's because we're going to be relying a lot on our special, and we're actually going to have other ways of getting heavy ammo to drop via the artifact. So these 3 mods on the helmet is absolutely required for this build, in my opinion. On the gauntlets, I'm using one momentum transfer mod. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. Having your melee ability up is going to be very important for this build. We'll get into that later. Then I also have a firepower mod. Your grenade final blows create orbs of power. Like I said earlier, orbs of power are essential to any build in Lightfall. Specifically for this build, picking up orbs of power is going to give us volatile rounds, and it's going to grant us Devour. And then I have a melee kickstart mod on. When your melee energy is fully expended, you gain melee energy. Additionally, your armor charge is consumed and you gain additional melee energy for each stack. You can stack multiple copies of this, but you get diminishing returns. So I feel like one melee kickstart along with all of our fragments and aspects, it gives us our abilities back really fast. Then on the chest piece, I have 2 Void Reserve mods, increases the amount of ammo you can carry for Void weapons. This build centers around Void weapons. And then we have 1 Charged Up mod, increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge you can carry by 1. This synergizes really well with that melee kickstart we have on our gloves, and it's going to ensure that we have our armor charge even though our melee kickstart already consumed a stack. Then on our boots, we have Void Weapon Surge. Your Void weapons gain a small bonus to damage while you have any armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time. 3 of these mods are essential if you want to stack insane amount of damage. Like I said earlier, we're going to be heavily relying on one of our Void special weapons, and with these 3 mods and other exotic perks, this is actually going to give us a 137% increase to our Void weapon damage. So make sure you stack 3 of them. Then finally on the bond, I'm using 1 Reaper mod. After using our class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns an orb of power. So yet again, even another way to get orbs of power. We have a time dilation mod, which states that our decaying armor charge now lasts longer. So we can have that Void weapon surge on our boots last even longer for that weapon damage. Then I have an outreach mod, reduces melee cooldown when using your class ability. Like I said, having your melee up at all times is really important for this build. And now moving on to the exotics. As you guys probably already saw, we're using the Felwinter's helm. The exotic perk on this, Warlord's N, powered melee final blows create a burst of energy that weakens nearby targets. So like I said, this is why we have a lot of melee based mods on our armor. So we make sure that we get those powered melees going. This also states that finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the radius and burst and length of the weakening effect. And the weakening effect actually states that enemies are now going to be taking 30% more increased damage. And you stack that with those 3 Void weapon surges on our boots, and you guys are doing a lot of damage. But the damage stacking doesn't stop there. If we head on over to our special exotic that we're using the exotic wavespliter trace rifle. This exotic was always good, but ever since Lightfall, it has become S tier in PvE, mainly because of the exotic perk, Harmonic Laser. Laser damage has 3 power levels that oscillate while the trigger is held down, and the exotic trait, Supercharged Battery, collecting an orb of power grants a period of maximum power that starts with an automatic reload. Sustained fire in this mode suppresses targets. So like I said, ever since Lightfall came out, every single build revolves around picking up orbs of power. Combined with the aspects and fragments and mods, we are creating tons of orbs of power. So we pretty much are always going to be at maximum power while using our wave splitter. Now moving on to the artifact mods that I'm using. You definitely want Void authorized mods unlocked, so they'll be cheaper to put on your armor. That is essential. Also, Bricks from Beyond is essential, because we're going to be using a Void heavy weapon. This states that defeating a powerful combatant with a Void weapon has a chance to generate heavy ammo for you and your teammates. And then also Void channeling. You gain a temporary bonus to Void weapon damage after you defeat a target with a Void weapon, while at least one of your Void abilities is fully charged. This damage bonus increases based on the number of fully charged Void abilities you have. And since we're only using Void weapons, and all of our aspects, fragments, and armor mods are going to be giving us back our Void abilities, this is going to come up a lot. And that is pretty much all you need for the build. Here is a quick overview of everything I have here. I will also be sure to link down in the description a link to Destiny Item Manager so you guys can just copy and paste it. Now getting back to the Wavesplitter Exotic Trace Rifle, as you can see on Carl here, we're doing 2,585 to the head. Then we're going to get a double kill and pick up 1 orb of power. So we get all those 3 void weapon surges going. It goes from 2,585 up to 4,021 to the head. Then we're going to take this even further. We're going to pick up the orb of power and we're going to utilize our Felwinter's helm 30% debuff, and that's going to take it from 4,021 to 5,593. And then to take it even farther, we're going to get that artifact mod void weapon channeling going. The same gameplay loop, picking up an orb of power, debuffing with the Felwinter's helm, and then still having one of our abilities up. It's going to take it from 5,593 to 6,148. A 137% increase to damage for the Wavesplitter. And this also counts for our heavy weapon. And that is pretty much gonna do it for the gameplay loop. You really want to start off throwing your grenade. As you can see, we throw our grenade right here. It debuffs because of the Felwinter's helm. This guy is blind. And since we have melee kickstart, we already got a chunk back of our melee. I'm gonna throw a grenade. We get another chunk back of our grenade. Pop a rift. We get even more melee, and as you can see, we're pretty much 80% of our melee is back already. And then you just rinse and repeat. We're gonna send our Void Soul over here. We're gonna get those kills. As you can see, our class ability energy just went up. Pick up some orbs. We get the volatile rounds. We get the supercharged battery for the Wavesplitter. And you can just go to town on everything. Getting kills is going to refresh the Devour perk. This build is really, really good. Been having a lot of fun with it. Highly suggest you guys try this out. If you guys are new here and found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow me over on Twitch for the live streams, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.